People deluded. Now, obviously, I don't agree with the whole doom and gloom narrative that's suddenly flown into the Emirates and Arsenal fans and the football world in general following our loss to Everton. Like, we've just done a complete turnaround. It was hella optimism and now it's all doom and gloom. But I still, as long as you can fight for top four, we have to keep fighting. We might very well not get it, but we still have to keep fighting. And while it's mathematically possible, there's still 18 points for Arsenal to play for. We need to do our thing. Tough away games. Can't feel sorry for ourselves. Our team has to be, and the fans and everyone on the same page. Arguably, we talk about winning through harmony and winning through togetherness. Arguably, there's never been more of an important stage in this season for Arsenal fans and Arsenal collective to come together. We need to do that, people. We lost to Everton. It would have been great if we beat Everton. It would have been great if we took 4 points off United and all the other games and stuff. But we can't go back in time. We have to deal with the facts. We were poor against Everton. We took 4 points against Spurs, and United in the Prem at Old Trafford. But we can't feel sorry for ourselves. Poor performance against Everton. We were ultimately toothless, lacklustre, just not quite at the races. But it happens. Prior to that, we was winning whole heap of games and playing well. Bad games are going to happen. We were going to drop points at some point this season. It was naive to think this side where we thought a lot of these players are not quite of the mustard to have a long-term future here. We're going to keep running in form and stuff like that and just win the whole 24 points at the time of me making a previous video about this at the moment in time. We've dropped points. It happens. Everton, tough side. Last year, I told you, lot, Everton are resurgent. They won 3 games prior to this, or including this. They want a winning run either way prior to this. Obviously, if you remember last season at Goodison Park, yeah, we won 4-5-1. But if you remember, it was a tough game prior to that, and Everton let themselves down. We let ourselves down. I don't want to disrespect Everton because I feel Everton, they listened to their game plan and implemented it very well that the manager gave them. Ultimately, they were all superb from the goalkeeper, not that he had much to do, all the way up to Calvert-Lewin. But we made it easy for ourselves. We were poor. We have to move forward. There's been games where we've been poor, like how we was against Everton, and we've won games. Go and look at our 22 unbeaten run. There's been games where we're good and we've lost or drawn. This is what happens. In May, we will look back at games like Everton if we don't get top 4. We will look at Everton, possibly look at Wolves at home, possibly look at Palace away, definitely look at West Ham away, or even, I know it was early in the season, but for me, even Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, because I felt that was a winnable game in the context of the game when we was playing. We will look back, but right now we can't. There's 18 points up for grabs, people. We can't feel sorry for ourselves. We've still got the Europa League. And we can't feel sorry for ourselves because we've now got a little, I don't want to say crisis, but a crisis. You've got Socrates now because of the yellow card. Ironically, our best player on the pitch for me, give or take him and Aaron Ramsey, against Goodison Park. He's now going to be out for 2 games. That's Watford, and who's after Watford, people? Let me look. I want to say Wolves, but I don't think it is Wolves. I actually think it might be Palace. Yeah, in the league it will be Palace, people. So he's going to miss Watford. He'll be available for the Europa, but he'll miss the game he'll miss Watford and Palace. And Palace are going to be tough, man. At home, you back us at home. We're almost a different side at home and have been for a while now to compare to away. But we've got some tough games, so we're going to miss Socrates. Obviously, Lucas Torreira will be back as well, but we miss Lucas Torreira and we miss Xhaka as well against Everton. We've obviously got that. We've had a lot of injuries, so now is arguably the least time to feel sorry for ourselves. We've got suspensions, we've got injuries like Koscielny and Xhaka in an important time of the season. Obviously, we've got 18 points on the line. We haven't got to play any of the top 6, but it's tough away games. We've got injuries, we've got suspensions, we've got all the now you're seeing the Wolves, the journalists come out to play and things like that. As professional athletes, whether you believe some of these players are good enough or not, pride now. You're playing for your pride. If you're Mustafi, if you're Ozil, if you're Mkhitaryan, if you're Xhaka, I'm just using these examples because these are the names that are typically thrown up or hot talking points, whether we win, lose or draw. Your pride is on the line now. You're allowed to critique football criticisms as well. Some are inaccurate and not true, but it's borderline personal comments now. Personal comments will creep in. So you've got to fight against that. For Unai Emery, clearly the boys let him down yesterday. Obviously, the pivot, in hindsight, maybe he would have changed the pivot in regards to Elneny and Guendouzi. But the boys let them down. We just weren't at the races. But we need to fight now. We need to fight. These lot wanted to get top four. You need to get top four. I don't agree with how it's all sunshine and roses at the Emirates or at Arsenal in general. We lose to Everton and now it's all pessimistic about our top four hopes. I told you lot to keep balance. We're in a fantastic position to get into the top four and bring back Champions League football that's been vacated for the last 2 seasons. If we do drop out of the top four, don't get top four come May, it will be upsetting because we obviously were in a good position. At least, let's just say prior to Everton, we was in a good position to get top four. So to drop this out of our hands we'd have to ask question marks of everybody involved, because I didn't think we'd get top four. We found ourselves in it. They had to go out there and do a job. This is the point in the season where 9 times out of 10, you know what you're going to have to do in games. You know when it comes to you playing Chelsea, Spurs, obviously Chelsea on the Monday, but typically we're going to know their results and what we need to do prior to it. Some games we're going to play first. We're going to know the implications of winning, losing or drawing. And it's good to think about that, but I also feel we might be putting... The players specifically might be putting too much importance on it, because it looked to a degree like they went into a shell against Everton and it looked nervous. They looked like the implications of losing today, they knew what it could mean for the season or what it meant for the table immediately, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, these are Arsenal players, whether we're Arsenal probably of 2004 where we was expected to win titles, or now. Fight, passion, commitment, galvanisation, standing up to be counted are certain principles that have to remain within the team, regardless of if you're the captain or you're a young player. And it just wasn't there. This is how the season works. Sometimes we've been poor and we've got the result. Sometimes we've been good and we haven't got the result. Sometimes you get what you deserve, as we did deserve defeat against Everton. So it is what it is, people. We can't have any complaints. We just need to fight, people. We really need to fight. And I do think games like this show what Xhaka is not perfect. Xhaka polarizes opinion. I don't feel Xhaka is necessarily the best defensively, but he has been one of our players of the season. Again, he's made mistakes, but he has been one of our players of the season, and he probably is up there for Arsenal's player of the season. I'd probably give it to Lacazette and actually Socrates, but Xhaka is probably within that. I know a lot of people speaking agendas and narratives, and they won't see what Xhaka's actually done on the pitch or what he offers us. They'll just see his name and his mistakes. Like I said, Xhaka isn't perfect, but games like you see against Everton, and Xhaka might have very well played poorly and made mistakes as he has done, but you see what we kind of miss with Xhaka, and you kind of see how why Wenger and Nuno Emery for this season, he's consistently in the lineup. Again, he hasn't been perfect, but I feel when players are not in the team, you need to cut people some slack, and you see what he can potentially offer you, because again, we probably would have lost because we were poor collectively as a team yesterday, but if Xhaka was there, we probably would have had a bit more, for his lack of mobility, we would have had a bit more fight in that middle of the park. But that's just me, people. Obviously, when you look at Xhaka's obviously now injured and we don't know when he comes back. Unai Emery said it's touch and go for him and Koscielny in regards to Thursday, Europa League. You've obviously got Socrates suspended domestically. Torreira's finally fresh home served. He's banned domestically. When you look at these sort of things, the injuries, the suspensions, it's now looking tough. I wouldn't say tough for us to get top four, but considering we've got these away games, we've got, like I said, question marks over player selections. It's not a big ask, but for want of better words, it's going to be a big ask of our boys. We need to really show that they really want top four, because this is what it's about. We're at the business end of the season now. It's just about what the results are in the final minutes of the game. 1-0 Arsenal, 2-0 Arsenal. It doesn't matter about playing well and not getting the results. We need a platform to build on next season, but now it's just about winning these games. Doesn't matter how they do it. It's about the team has to pull together collectively, and it is a tight, as much as what people say about Arsenal, it is a tight knit bunch of players. So they need to pull together really and truly, and do what they can to get top four, man, because you want to look back in May knowing if we don't get top four, fair enough, we dropped points against Everton and other points this season, but we gave it our all. We minimised dropping points. We gave it our all. It weren't a thing where we were iffy in terms of form, because I know we've lost to Everton now, but look at the results prior to that. We've been on a good run. It's about forgetting this Everton result, learning what we could have done better and moving forward. But that's just me anyways, people, and on that note, I'm going to get out of your hair. So, people, Deluded, comment, subscribe, and do the rest if you wish.